What is happening there, boys and girls? Jim here, RCAD. Today is Friday, November 1st, 2024. We're back out at the rock pile with Dan Weiss. Dan Weiss?
Yep, Dan Weiss.
Dan Weiss. And we've got two of Dan's vehicles, Dirt's Off-Road Towing, another custom Dan vehicle.
Yeah.
Say again?
A Holmes revolver.
You got a Holmes revolver under the hood of this one?
Yeah, and it was built for a special competition we had in our group. We all built tow trucks. And then they set up a competition with a broken down rock crawler missing the front axle. And they put it up in the rocks, and we had to recover it. And they gave points just like anything else for the recovery.
And you had to back underneath the vehicle and hook onto it without touching it, essentially.
Yes, they wanted, well, you got points for everything you did. So, like, if you had to touch and hook up, you got points for that. So anybody that could get their truck hooked up without using their hands. So I came up with this at home. These are the A-arms that used to be on that truck.
Okay.
And so these were on the back, and then
What did that truck start out life as?
this truck was a Element Gatekeeper.
Gatekeeper on this one. And that one was a Element
That
Ecto?
was the what?
The Ecto?
Yeah, that one was the Ecto.
Okay.
And I found out shortly into comping that I didn't like these. They catch, and
Yeah, the trailing arms.
they do pretty good, but I mean they do limit something. So I went to the metal links because the round links slide better over, even though these are plastic.
Right.
So I went to this, but then this was designed for you could back under the truck. This leather will just bend down
And snag a bumper.
and then snag a bumper, and then the pressure on this pushes against the bumper.
Right, helping to grab.
And it worked good.
Yeah, nice little electric
but,
winch setup on there.
I burned up my winch getting it out of there, and I got my butt kicked by a very well-deserving guy that built a really nice truck.
Well, at least you're honest about it.
Yeah, no, I didn't win that. I got my butt kicked, but it was fun.
I see the Hurricane has settled down again. Once again, no offense to people.
And it still crawls
Sounds
pretty
out.
good, even though it's a big, heavy truck.
Well, yeah, you're walking right on in there.
And it's smooth too. You can go real slow like this and walk it around.
The revolver, that's an outrunner then.
Yeah, end runner, I think. This
The in-runner or the outrunner?
Outrunner.
It would be the outside of the motor spins around.
Yeah, the outside of the
Oh
motor.
yeah,
spins.
yeah. The in-runner's a straight on like a normal brush motor or.
Okay.
Yeah, you're right on that.
Yeah, I can't remember everything.
Yeah, I hear you, man. It's still a learning curve too for me.
Yeah.
I was kind of thinking that the revolver motors, the outrunners, would be more something orientated for a helicopter or an airplane or something like that, or possibly a boat or something, but not necessarily for a crawler. I figured the motor would get snagged on something, or something would hit the motor and stop it, and that you'd be better off with a closed end bell or whatever, and a regular in-runner motor style.
They got so much torque though. They're so torquey, and it made a nice tow truck.
It is a beautiful tow truck. You've got cantilever suspension on the rear.
Oh,
Go forward. There you go.
what's going on? I got no idea.
Is that doing it on its own?
Yeah.
Is it really?
Alright, we're gonna have to unplug the truck. We're having a malfunction.
Oh, I told you the course is haunted, man. Usually over in this area we get a lot of activity too. No doubt. No lie. That's interesting.
Well, I'm making it go the other way for don't wrap up and break.
Okay. I'm gonna keep tension on it. That's odd. Interesting.
I've never seen anything like that. It's kind of what that winch did to me at the competition.
Huh.
And I went home and I worked on it and it worked again.
Grab that
So
here in a second when you get ready to wind it back up.
I think
Or we figure it out.
see if it resets itself, and then I just won't play with it.
That's interesting.
I think it has its own built-in controller,
Okay.
and I think it's faulty. It did the
Possibly.
same thing when we were using it at the competition.
Okay.
And
I usually run the RC four-wheel drive winch controllers, but they're hit and miss as well.
I run a different kind in my comp trucks, and but them are kind of expensive, and this was a budget build, you know.
Right, right. Well, you did an awesome job on the truck, man. There's no doubt about that. And it crawled right in here as well, so no doubts there. Things happen.
Ain't that weird?
It's weird. Yeah, I think it was just going back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. Crazy.
Yeah, we just won't touch that button.
Oh, you got to have your hook out here, don't you?
That's all right.
That was hooked into here.
Yeah, it was, but there's usually more string on. But I was just trying to.
Yeah, recover. Get your recovery vehicle all recovered.
I need to get a recovery vehicle. I might have to go get my ultimate hauler.
Yeah, get your ultimate hauler to bring back your recovery vehicle. Yeah, you did an awesome job on that, the way you hooked up that body and everything else. We don't want to give away any trade secrets, but man, you really, very creative, Dan. I give you some applause on that.
Thank you. You know, I just love this hobby. It's done so much for me. And I've met so many great people because of this hobby that I would have never met. And that, and I'm kind of a hermit. I'm gonna be honest.
Yeah, me too.
And it's forced me to get out because my friends will drag me, and they'll say, "Come on, you got to show up," you know. And now why am I having problems with that? But so I would have never met these people, and I'm sure that some of these are going to be lifelong friends.
Right?
Know?
Oh yeah.
Not just acquaintances. So.
Yeah, the RC hobby brings people together.
Yeah, it definitely does, and they're all just good people.
Meet people that are might even live right down the street from you. You don't even know.
Yep.
Like looking for, you're out there crawling by yourself, and somebody else is out there crawling by themselves, and you're like, hey, you're right down the road.
Yeah, you never know. You just got to pay attention around you to see.
Like I had no idea that DSM Recovery was out of Traverse City.
Yeah, they're right here close to you. I know that.
And here I'm just outside of Kalkaska, between Kalkaska and Mansalona, and I'm using DSM Recovery products, and
I know
they're right down the road, 45 minutes away.
They go to a lot of our comps, so I knew they were
local, eh?
Local, you know. And we use their products too. We use their snatch ropes like crazy.
Do you guys use the like the bungee ropes, or okay?
Yeah.
I didn't know if the bungees were even legal in a competition.
Yeah. I'm not going on the edge of the rock, but
So it's like a snatch 'em strap kind of deal, you know?
Yep. No, that depends what ones what comp. You know, the comps are held by different people, and sometimes they'll use different rules. And
I think it's quiet.
Yeah.
Well, very quiet, that motor and everything.
That you can thank 32-bit for that, because before that these motors were so noisy. They just sing. And the way I understand it from John Holmes is that the motor is just a speaker for the electronics.
Okay. The motor is a speaker for the electronics.
That's what he would say, you know.
It's playing a tune.
And I think he would know, you know.
Oh yeah, for sure. He's definitely the authority on that.
He's an authority on quality motors. Now this is one of those budget servos that is in here, you know, and it's not bad at all, you know. Got to get a little piece of this rock right here.
One of those Amazonian servos.
Yep. That rear axle's trying to bring this rock right up. We gotta try something different.
If you can make it through there, your back end's gonna be riding high. It's going through this valley.
There we go.
Yeah, you definitely have to approach that at a different angle.
Yeah, trying to get over that rock is tall cry for any truck.
It doesn't look all that imposing, really, but I'm sure a lot of people are out at home are probably like, "Oh, that's a piece of cake, man." It is relatively flat and it is relatively easy, but
Well, I hope when you post this, I can reach out to some of the good guys from Controlled Chaos and say, hey, just make sure you watch it, and they're like, what? We don't need to watch you. We watch you on the weekends we're together.
right. Well, you got your own video. Controlled chaos.
The tow truck. Yeah, actually, I think it's on the back window of that truck.
We'll have to check it out. Yeah, check out your line, see where you're going. Hanging on the edge. It's a tough little line right
The tow
there.
truck has got the cheap Amazonian cantilever.
Okay.
Just because I didn't want shocks coming up through the back of the bed.
That's a,
They're not the best suspension, but they work for this.
but they work and it's concealed and it's
Yeah.
right. Your shock
Right.
shock cylinders aren't coming through the bed.
I had to use different shocks than the factory ones.
Oh. Oh.
Crashed and burned, Jim.
Right, right. I hope it didn't bend the boom on the record.
Yeah, I don't think so. It's pretty tough. I'm gonna give her a little cheat. I'm gonna move it over a little.
Okay. Well, it is a dually.
But for what it is, it still does, a pretty good
It's a
job.
dually wrecker out on the rocks, man. You're doing pretty good for
And it's heavy.
right off-road recovery. Custom inserts on the wheels as well, right?
Yep.
You don't have to give any trade secrets away, but yeah.
No, actually, a good friend of mine, he'll know if he hears his name. I'm not going to say his name. I'm going to call him by his nickname, but his nickname is Hellspawn.
Hellspawn? Hell's Spawn?
He's just a really super good guy, and we both kind of got in the hobby at the same time. And he had a 3D printer,
Okay.
so he was able to help me out some with some parts in the beginning. Actually, he printed the engine cover on here
Okay.
for me, and he's one of the guys that kept pushing me. You gotta get your own printer. Yeah, it sounds good, but I'm a computer dummy. Man,
Now, what kind of truck was this again?
this is a Element.
The call sign on that? Trail Walker? Or a
No, the Trail Walker was
or the Enduro?
yeah. This is the um one with the rear.
Oh, the Ecto. Ecto.
Yeah,
Ecto.
and I bought it used, because this is why I buy trucks used. Usually if you look around, shop around, you can find them for a couple $100 or less, and that's about half off what new is.
Right?
And because right away from a RTR, you're gonna have to upgrade the steering servo, and then your speed controller. Your motor usually will be okay, but your speed controller don't modulate very well. You can't creep right down slow. So then you're going to be buying a 1080 Hobby Wing speed controller. And by buying it used, you save that money of new parts you're going to take out of a truck and you're going to set in a box and never use. And you save that money, so now you can buy your upgraded parts.
Yeah, you can use that money for something else. That makes sense to buy the truck used and then take that money that you save from buying the used vehicle and put it into performance parts like the better ESC or.
Yeah, just be patient and just shop around and wait, and they always pop up. People get out of the hobby all the time, and
Oh yeah, you're always finding something for sale. It's the same thing with the Ascenders. You can always find one online, just as long as you don't go crazy on them. They're not made of gold, and
right.
some people seem to think they are. I mean,
Some
they're great
people
great
do.
crawlers, but it's not made of gold. I think the Ascenders are very similar to the Elements, except that the Elements seem to have a lower transmission and the motor's facing a different direction. almost
almost
spot on, but they do have their subtle differences. Obviously, the elements are lower geared, and
they're a good platform to start with.
there is no doubt about that. I was unsure about the elements, and I've got no doubts right now, especially after running that competition crawler. There's no doubt about that. And this one is doing exceptionally well as well. And then you're also an excellent driver, so having a good driver behind the wheel is also important.
I mean, for a big old heavy, 10-pound tow truck with enough electric to light up Detroit.
Right.
Obviously, though, my Went servo is gonna have to, or my Went in the back is gonna have to be upgraded.
Right. You were leaning pretty good. I'm gonna try to get to the other side of you. Get better angle on what's going on here. He's hanging over the edge, and he's trying to work a servo to get his front end to pull down a little bit more evenly. This is where you almost want an outrigger on the front.
Yeah.
Little finger you can lower down to balance yourself. You're doing quite well, though.
I'm gonna get that front end right down in that hole, and I'm gonna be done.
Pretty good articulation for a dually at the back. Wrapping around that rack. Oops, sorry, boys and girls.
That's twisted up.
Yeah, that's twisted up pretty good.
Good view right here.
Work my way around the vehicle. The jungle view. Ferns in the background.
I mean, and if you want to buy an RTR and just have a truck that's ready to go right off the get go, and then you slowly do the upgrades. That's a fine way to go too. It's just not how I choose. Because I'm gonna tear them apart anyway.
Right. Yeah, you're obviously a take it apart and modify it kind of person.
Yeah.
I hear you. I'm gonna have it of doing that myself, but I just haven't made it out to any competitions. I've never gone to a competition
Well,
for
we're gonna
girls
get you
ever.
to one. Just even if you come out and meet some people and just watch, it'll.
That truck does nice. Once again, I mean, for a dually wrecker, I mean, wow. Good driving skills.
I just love building different things, and that's the beauty of the hobby. It doesn't have to be just a square Chevy or a square Ford or a square Dodge. You know what I mean?
Right.
It can be a reimagined gatekeeper that now the rear swing arms are the rear lift, and put links on it, and now it's a dually tow truck. And it's a fun trail truck. It's got good lights on it.
You made the whole back of the bed area yourself and everything, and
Give you some lights.
it's a lot of fabricating to put all this together.
Yeah.
You've got your sand ladder sitting here on the back as well that held on with the rubber bands. So you can just click this attached.
Where you can have anything you want on there that you can use to help yourself.
Right.
But you got to carry them on the truck, and you can't use tools to remove them.
Okay.
So the rubber bands are just
something you can get with your fingers.
Yep. And them sand ladders, believe it or not, they might get you out of a big bind. All right.
I hear they're most sand ladders are pretty flexible.
Yeah, they are.
I was gonna make my own out of some cedar, some cedar strips, build down on a bandsaw.
It's not as wet as it was yesterday here.
No, everything was pretty wet yesterday. That is a good looking record, Dan. Nice job, man.
Thank you. Thanks.
Nice job in an hour. Yeah, no problem, man. It's a pleasure. You're welcome up here anytime.
I really appreciate it. It's
Yeah,
a
no
beautiful
problem, man.
property up here.
Thank you.
Nice people.
Appreciate it. Appreciate it.
Like
I'm
the
sure.
channel. Click that like
I'm
button.
sure people are probably wondering, oh, what's he really like?
Yeah. Yeah.
He's laughing all the time. Is he really that happy?
Is he that happy? He is. He's a good guy.
Yeah, I'm usually in a pretty good mood,
So
unless somebody makes me angry, and then watch out.
we've in the last 3 days we've solved a lot of the world's problems already.
Yeah,
So
definitely for sure.
we've had plenty to BS about.
That is for sure. Yeah,
Well, thanks for having me.
no problem, man. No problem. You're welcome out here anytime. All right, that's gonna do it, boys and girls. Very much appreciated for checking out the video here. Dan Weiss and myself, Dan Weiss, Dan Weiss,
Dan Weiss.
Weiss. I see, you know, terrible with names. Very much appreciate everybody for sticking around and watching the video. Dan's been here for 3 days, and here, you know, I'm still having trouble with his last name. But that's just how I am. Doesn't mean you're not important. That's for darn sure. All right, that's gonna do it. We'll see you all on the next video. Thanks again.
Cool.